everybody, David from Flash by D Cycle Nut here. I finally got my Termignoni kit for the Hypermotard in the mail, and I unbolted the stock exhaust, which was quite the pain in the rump. I actually had to remove the shock to be able to get it out, because that's all one piece, and then you have to weave it in and out to get it out. It was quite the pain in the butt. Looking at the two systems, if you've bought the system and you're happy with it and you spent your hard-earned money and you think it's money well spent, please don't get mad at me for how I feel, but I'm a bit put off. So the kit was $3,000. It came with a reprogramming of the ECU. I'm going to test it first with the stock programming, and then we'll see how much better the programming is. Came with a Sprint filter that's like $90 and a new filter lid very similar to the one that I sell for $75. And looking at the pipes, there is only a 2.5 basically on my highly calibrated bathroom scale, 2.5 pound difference between total in the whole system. The canisters, these are labeled titanium, but they weigh the same as the other canisters. The piping looks identical except for the cap part. So it looks to me like they could have chosen to make the stock pipe two pieces, and then they could have sold the cat delete. But instead, they chose to make that all one piece and then have to buy this whole kit from them. Because Woolix still hasn't unlocked the ECU for me or mapped it out, however you want to think about it, I can't tune for it yet. So the only option we have at this point is the tune from Ducati for this. The system reuses this cover that bolts onto the new one, and they sent me 2 new covers for the exhaust, but they're not even carbon fiber, they're hard plastic like the other one. So like I said, to be honest, I'm a little disappointed in what I got for my money. Not all about value and everything has to be value and all this, but I was expecting a little bit more for the price of admission. So the important part, I'll have to get it all bolted back in, and then we'll do some dyno runs and some test riding, and we'll see how it does with the stock programming. And then I will take it in to get reprogrammed, and I will retest it. All I have to say is that upgraded wheelie control better be effing amazing. So before we get into the dyno runs, let's talk about how the bike ran with the kit and the reflash. So with the stock programming, it ran horrible. I would not recommend putting a full exhaust on this bike and not getting tuning. It would pop and buck when I would try to get into the throttle, and the dyno showed this when we get there. Really, really lean part throttle. It would kind of get to a point where it would clear up, but I really didn't honestly even feel comfortable riding the bike because it felt like it was so lean and dangerous. So at the dyno runs, let's look at where we started. This is what my 698 Hypermotard made on my dyno all stock. And if you've been watching my videos, this was the intake lid that I came up with the air filter and the improvements it made over stock. I have it linked to in the description if you'd like to take a look at purchasing it. And you can see we made huge improvements, or I made huge improvements with the stock programming and by just improving the intake side. And as I said earlier, the kit, Termignoni kit, included a very similar airbox lid and filter. So this is what you get with just changing out the filter and airbox lid. This dyno run compares my intake kit with bolting up the full Termi kit without reprogramming, getting a reprogramming done of the ECU. And as I said, it ran horrible on the bottom. I definitely wouldn't recommend running it like this. But you could see we did pick up some power on the top. So I was pretty encouraged when I saw this that maybe after the reprogramming it would really, really, really be hands and feet above where I was. So let's see what we got. The programming did greatly improve the riding manners of the bike. It runs really clean. It's much more enjoyable to ride around town, just on back roads. I took it for about a 100-mile ride the other day, and it's definitely the most fun I've had on the bike. I like the sounds of it. I know people are complaining it's a bit loud. I have the DB killers out, and I do apologize. I forgot to do runs with the DB killers in, and it's a bit to get to the tack lead, so it'll be a bit before I do a set of runs with the DB killers in. So, but the bike feels very much a lot better on the road riding it. I cannot quantify those kind of part throttle improvements. All I can quantify are dyno runs. So that's what we're looking at. And at full throttle, yeah, we gained what? We gained 2 horsepower on top, 2.5 horsepower on top for the last 1,000 RPMs. But through most of it, it's either below or slightly above or the same as it was before the intake kit. I also am really confident if I was able to get in the ECU that I would get some of these full throttle gains or these higher RPM power gains just by having the throttle open. I don't know that for sure, but that is my guess. Again, I a bit disappointed in the results. Bike runs really good. Did gain a couple horsepower, but not really what I would have expected for a return of investment. And so the wheelie control, with wheelie control in one, I've just been doing power wheelies in second gear. If you, as it's coming up, if you roll out, the front wheel will come back down. And maybe if I just stayed into it and didn't back out at all, which feels completely unnatural and scary, and you really got to put 100% of your trust in the system, maybe it would just stand up and let me shift gears and go through them. But as it stands, I'm still trying to figure out how to get the best out of it. So even the wheelie control's a bit of a fail. If we want to make everybody feel better, let's compare where it started stock to where it is now. And we're up almost 5 horsepower, which is about, 9%, something like that, 8%. And again, it runs a lot better around town than even it did stock or just riding it on back roads. It's more fun and enjoyable. I do like the sounds, though. It pops like crazy on D-cell, so I'm going to have to block off the pair valve. But, as I guess you can tell, I'm not overjoyed with the whole kit, mostly because of the price of admission. Really wish there were other options that I could have gone with. But at least now you guys know, and you can make the decision yourself whether you want to spend this money and if it's worth it. So thanks, guys, for watching. Remember, hit that subscribe button for more motorcycle-related content.